everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Design Therapy, your creative community and outlet for all things inspirational, experimental, and finding that artist within. I'm your host, Cassie Patterson, a creative designer and brand strategist in Nashville, Tennessee. And on this episode, we're talking all things marketing, branding, entrepreneurship. This woman is an amazing marketer in helping you find your superpower and taking your business to the next level. Please give a warm welcome to Karen. Welcome on the episode.
Oh, thank you so much. That was an amazing introduction.
Because you are a superstar.
Thank you.
I've been stalking you on all your videos, and I was like, yep, she's a superstar.
Oh my God, I'm so honored. Thank you.
How are you doing?
I'm good. It's a little hot here in Southern California right now, but I'm surviving.
How hot is it there?
What was that?
I said, how hot is it there?
I mean, it's like in the high 90s, which is pretty hot for us.
That's hotter than here.
Yeah.
And Nashville's pretty hot, and it's humid. It's been really humid and stormy. Like, literally, every episode that I've filmed in the last, couple of weeks, it has been raining and lightning, and I'm like, that's distracting. I can't listen if that's going on. There's one rolling through, so if you hear me be like, what was that?
Okay. Deal.
Well, why don't we just go ahead and just jump into it and tell everyone a little bit about who you are, what you do, and all things Karen.
Of course. So hi, my name is Karen Happel. I am a marketing expert. I help people one-on-one with personal branding and building their brand online. I've had a few different careers along the way, which I'm sure that we're going to talk about. But about 2.5 years ago, I got laid off from my job. And that's when I started what's now my little boutique agency called Genuine Content. And so I work a lot with entrepreneurs and small businesses, helping them tell their story online. So it's web design and all that kind of stuff. And through that, I've kind of built this online thing where I'm working more one-on-one with people on a larger scale so that I can help more people kind of learn how to do it on their own.
Yeah. So what made you make that transition? Because I know that is so relevant for a lot of people right now, especially with COVID and this whole 2020 year being crazy. Like, a lot of people have been laid off. They've made a lot of big transitions in the year. Like, how would you start going about that? Because that's so relevant to you in the last 2 years.
How can people start making the transition online?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's really important to have a consistent message on all platforms. Because I think especially when people have been working in a field for a long time, the message gets really cloudy across websites and social media and all that kind of stuff. So trying to figure out what the end goal is and being able to tell that message in a sentence or two, taking that sentence and then that should be everywhere on your website, on your social media and everything. And as long as people know what you have to offer, they're going to come to you more easily.
Yeah. So where did your creative journey start for you? You said that you've made this transition. Like, has it always been a part of your life, in some aspects of, you said you changed careers. So where were you first and then and you moved into this now? So how has that kind of always been with you, or has it evolved, or?
Yeah, so there have been a lot of twists and turns. And what I found is that I have picked up different skills in each job that I've done, right? Like, I'm always the type of person who's like, wait, you need to do it. Okay, I'll figure out how to do it, right? And also pick the skill. And so, I went to school for television production, New York. And so when I graduated, I moved out to Los Angeles and I started working in reality TV, which I said I would never do, because reality TV was still kind of new at the time. But I
bet you have some fun stories.
Oh my God, I have some crazy stories.
What's the best one that sticks out in your mind that's really imprinted in you, like the best story or best person you've ever met?
Oh my God. So I was doing Extreme Makeover Home Edition.
Okay.
And, where the family gets a house. And that was just amazing because I would travel the country and I'd meet this family and it's all about helping them tell the story. And so, like, if you've ever seen the show, there's the bus and the designers are all on the bus at the beginning of the show. And so that tape that they watched on the bus, I made that.
Oh,
because
wow.
that was all from like the casting, or like me and all the other casting people, right?
Yeah.
And so I would find a family, they'd fly me out to wherever the family lived, and I'd spend a week with that family, really just creating a little package that told their story.
Mhm.
And one of the first families I went to meet was just it was this amazing young girl. She was in middle school and she had congenital heart disease. And so she wasn't going to live past 18 or something like that. And
Yeah.
talking to this 12 or 13-year-old, it was like speaking to a 40-year-old. She was just so like, so mature, and it was just incredible. And so she had created these little clay angels and sold them online and sent something like 6 other kids to Disney World
Wow.
through Make-A-Wish, you know, and she
Yeah.
had to wear an oxygen tank to middle school. Like middle school isn't bad enough, you know. And I don't know, it was just, she gave me a little clay angel when I left, me and my partner, and I still have it.
Oh my gosh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's such an impactful story, and connecting and telling other people about like your journey, and where even though you have some of the biggest struggles in life and face some of the biggest obstacles, being able to share that and connect with others and just letting know that we're not alone. I love that. That's such a beautiful thing.
Yeah. And so while I was working in TV, I think probably what you and I have in common is that I just connect really well with people and really easily. And I kind of became good at finding like America's sweethearts,
Yeah.
like I wasn't very good at finding the villains on shows, but like I could find someone and bring out like their huge heart. Right. And that, it turns out, ends up being personal branding.
Yeah.
Like figuring out what somebody's story is, and then I would have to figure out how that person would connect with the audience, and then also be able to portray that message to the TV executives, right? Like, this is the person and this is why you need them on the show. And then from there, I left TV in like 2013 because I was just over it. And I moved down to Orange County and I got a job for a behavioral healthcare company. And I did that for 2.5 years. And while I was there, I picked up some graphic design skills. I told the owner of the company, like, look, if you pay for me to take an online course on the Adobe suite, and like, I'll do the graphic design so you don't have to pay this designer.
Yeah.
Right. And then all of a sudden I knew how to do a little bit of design work. And then I got laid off from that job and I got hired for an aerospace company.
Oh, wow.
Recently. Yeah. And then
That's a big transition. That's like 3 different industries.
totally different, and totally different people in each. And, I learned so much at each one, and especially like being the creative person in a 400-person company of like engineers.
Mhm.
It was different. And I learned a lot about, organization and really kind of doing things more methodically. And I built their website in Squarespace.
Yeah.
And so I picked that up while I was there. And so when I got laid off, I just realized I had accumulated all of these different skills. But like, since it was so many different industries, I had never climbed vertically up one ladder, right? So I was going to have much more earning potential if I worked one-on-one with my own clients and started my own business. And so here I am.
That's amazing. Like, that is drastically different from each industry that you've come from. And learning those skill sets and picking up different things, did you see like how design can almost be more mathematical and pattern based? And because I know that's one thing that stuck out to me when I was in design school, is that graphic design is actually a much more mathematical process and analytical than it is creative.
Yes. That's one of the reasons that I have to pair up with really great logo designers, when I'm doing a project for someone, because I can design a brand, but when it comes to a logo, it's just so those meticulous details and how shapes really kind of interact with each other. My brain just doesn't handle that well. So yeah, you're absolutely right. And working with, aerospace industrial designers was just, it's really interesting stuff.
My brain doesn't work. Hang on, let me back up. My brain doesn't work in math that well, but it does work in patterns. let's rephrase this. I can't always calculate the right percentage in discounts. I'm like, where's my phone?
That's why we have phones.
right, it's accessible. It's right there. I don't have to do it in my head anymore. I might have learned how to do it, in school, but I've forgotten. So that's okay.
Absolutely. And the coolest thing too about, kind of this progression is that I still have contacts from all these different industries. I didn't leave any of the jobs on a bad note. Like I would just get caught in layoffs. And so when my last company was purchased by Boeing last summer, they came to me and they're like,
Boeing, the airline?
Yeah, like the aircraft manufacturer.
Okay.
And they came to me and they're like, we need your help rebranding and telling the story about how Boeing purchased us. So can you come on as a consultant? And so I built a Boeing website last year.
That's amazing.
And it's pretty crazy.
It's crazy how connective, networking and being able to still connect with people and having that relationship, that's such a huge aspect of it, and taking that into, your business. Have you learned anything, was it scary making that transition into your own company? Like, were there obstacles or anything that you faced taking kind of that leap 2 years ago into where you are now?
It's constantly terrifying. It's a roller coaster. Anybody who's done the whole entrepreneurial thing knows, there are highs where you're just landing projects, you have all this money coming in, and then there are lows where you're just living, what have I done? This was a huge mistake, and those highs and lows can come at any different point in time.
Imposter syndrome and self-doubt can creep in, any day and every day.
Absolutely. And that's why I'm a big proponent of trying to be authentic on social media, because I think so many of us are dealing with imposter syndrome and, days where we just feel like we've made a mistake and all that kind of stuff. And if we can share those kinds of things, it just makes social media so much more meaningful.
Mm-hmm. Making it more real life and in the moment. And some days you want to post, some days you don't, some days you have all the energy to interact and do things, and then some days you're like, I can't even live right now. I need to go sit in a closet.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I am 100% like that. I've had to learn that lesson in the last year. Just doing it for the last couple of years with social media, I've basically taken a step back. Just because of how much I was investing, my emotional and mental health and worth into it. And being able to be it's not that big of a deal. It's going to be okay. People will still, respond and have a community with you and be friends and talk to you. But you don't have to give, 110% of yourself and burn out.
You don't. I actually sent out an email to my list last week about how, back when I worked in casting, you'd have these crazy deadlines and there'd be a night where you're still in the office with a bunch of people at midnight and everybody's sweating and tired and it's and then so glamorous. And then somebody would just look up and go, hey guys, this isn't brain surgery.
Yeah.
It's reality TV, right? And I like to remind myself of that every so often with social media, right? Because there's nobody's brain open on the table if I mess something up on social media.
Yeah. It's okay for things to be imperfect.
Exactly.
If you misspell something, it's in double bold font and 30-point font on the cover of your Instagram thing. Guess what? It'll be okay.
It's going to be okay. Absolutely.
Laugh at it and be like, yeah, I know I made a mistake. Thank you.
Oh, look at that.
It's cute, isn't it? Yeah. So how do you get into your creative zone? Do you have a process? How do you get it started about your day, since you are, remote and running your business? Is there kind of a process that you have to be organized and get yourself going for the day?
I have this notebook where every day I sit down, first thing I write the word schedule and then the date, and then I make a list of the to-do list for the day, right? And that's the only thing that notebook serves, the only purpose. But I think just sitting down in the morning and just being able to write that stuff out, it gets my head in the right space. And then I think too, one of the most amazing things about working for myself is learning how and when I'm productive. Trying to squeeze my brain into a 9-to-5 office and be productive at those hours, it was torture. And I never realized that, but now, sometimes I'll be working on a project until 12 or 1 o'clock in the morning and then take my dog my dog to the park the next morning,
Yeah.
and like, I just try to go with when I'm able to be super productive, and other times just cut myself some slack, and somehow it all balances out.
Yeah. I know organization is such like a key component, for running a business or, running your day-to-day task, even if you're in like a full 9 to 5 job. And it's such a like a key component of being able to structure and know, so it doesn't stop you in burnout. You can hit a wall, you can produce all this content, but if you don't have that structure and that flow, that continually calendar, you end up working for a week and then you're off for 3 weeks and you're like, what happened?
Yes, absolutely. That is a real danger. And so, just keeping my appointments in my calendar, checking my calendar every morning has been really important, because otherwise I'll just kind of forget and creatively flit away somewhere.
Go get a latte. Okay. Oh, tell everyone your dog's name because it's adorable.
Okay, so his name is Mr. Harry Winston, but like hair. But
Oh,
his friends call him Winston. So
it's so adorable. It reminds me of the movie. Have you ever seen Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, 1953, with Marilyn Monroe?
haven't.
Oh my gosh, you need to watch it because she sings a song in there. It's like, show me that Harry Winston, darling.
That's amazing.
I love old movies, and that when I saw that, I was like, yep, that's my kind of girl.
Oh God, I love it. One of my favorite movies ever is Some Like It Hot.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. I am all about, a 1930s, 40s, and 50s movies. 60s, it got a little too swinging for me.
That's amazing.
But if it's anything in Technicolor and it's a musical and I can sing along to it and it's in fancy dresses, this girl is on board.
Oh my God, I love that so much.
So when you come to Nashville, we're going to have to put on our fancy dresses and go get cocktail hour.
Yes, fancy dresses are one of my favorite. There's nothing like a fancy dress that just makes you feel like $1 million.
Exactly. And you're supposed to feel like $1 million every day.
Exactly.
I love that. Well, tell me, are there anything that you really, face that you want to let everyone know, like any obstacles that you face with like learning like branding or anything that you face with like your clients, some major obstacles that people don't necessarily like understand the process or they feel blocks, like anything you want to share to help them, grow past that you do in your day-to-day processes and talks?
You mean like as far as if someone's trying to brand themselves or, okay.
Yeah. How would you approach that?
Spend time researching, taking a look at what other people are doing in your industry, just to like get all of the ideas.
Okay.
Copying someone isn't a good idea, but understanding your industry and what brands look like in your industry, it's really great if you can find a way to fit in there but still stand out uniquely in some way. So I think a lot of people skip that kind of like research phase where you're just picking up what other people are doing and figure out what you like and what you don't like and what do you think some people are doing well. And before you know it, you start to incorporate different ideas and stuff like that.
I remember learning back in college a long time ago, when we're not going to talk about that, that, you don't, it's not, like you said, it's not good to steal people's ideas, but there's nothing new under the sun, and everything, you have to create it. I had a professor who said that you have to basically steal that idea and change it 80% so that it ultimately ends up being the more majority of yours than it is that other person's, even though there's reminiscence and influences of what they have and they've created. And that's always like stuck with me, especially being like a full-time designer and art director. It really, it resonated with the fact that, there is hardly anything in it. I may create one unique piece that I have absolutely never seen in like 7-10 years, whatever. But the majority of the time, it's not new. You're always pulling influences from certain things.
Absolutely. And then I think I see a lot of people get too hung up on the brand before the business even starts.
right? And there's no product or service to sell or promote or.
Yes. And so kind of finding a way to balance those two things that you're doing is really important, because some people, I think, especially if someone happens to be a perfectionist, they can get really hung up on the logo and the colors, which are all so important. But I think if you're just starting out, pick fonts, pick colors, and then like the logo can come later.
Yeah. It can be something that's like more of a type logo. And and like you said, it's finding that voice of, what you want to sell or target in your target audience, and really understanding what that is before. I feel like you can't brand something. I mean, you can, but it's more superficial if you don't have something fulfillment or value driven to give your audience,
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, do you have any artistic influences that kind of like influence the way you creatively built your career or your business? Anything can influence you. I know, like for me, I have like everything old music, movies, whatever. My house, my work. My work is very structural from Piet Mondrian and all of that. So, are there like influences that kind of influence your aesthetic and your style?
Okay, so this is going to sound really crazy.
Nothing crazy. No. It is uniquely you.
Uniquely me. So I think it's more of an ideological thing, but I think it ends up playing into what a lot of my aesthetic ends up being. Jim Henson.
Okay.
I am there's just, there's something about the big heart that he brought to Hollywood that when I moved out to TV, I was like, I want to create what that man has created. Everybody who worked for him just absolutely adored him. And he, when he created Sesame Street, it was just like the point of it was about teaching children tolerance. Yeah. Right. Everything that he did was brought from a good place. And so I think there's just kind of like that big kid in me that just, the Muppets and it's so fun and innocent. And so I think if you're going to translate that into styles, right, like I'm really drawn towards like bright colors. Like everything I does has like a pop of something,
You're drawn to the heart of it, the story. Exactly what your company is built off of is finding your brand and your story and telling a story for other companies. That makes absolute sense. That's not crazy.
It's very kind of out of left field. I didn't know how I was going to answer that, but that's what popped up.
It's fully connected though. It really makes sense because it is that monumental industry that he created was such an impact on the community and society as a whole. And it brought such a big heart to it. And I think that's why so many, even now, like all of us have some kind of memory of Sesame Street. It doesn't matter. Like, even if you're in another country, you saw Sesame Street.
Absolutely. It's incredible it's an empire that they created,
Are they still running?
Sesame Street?
Yeah. Did
yes.
they redo it? Okay. I was like, I don't know anything about cartoons.
I don't watch any of it anymore, but yeah, it is. Actually, just randomly, a friend of mine won a Daytime Emmy for being on a short with Sesame Street. Like her daughter was talking to one of the Muppets about what it's like to have parents who are recovering from an addiction.
Yeah.
And it was just this really sweet thing that went viral online, and they gave them a Daytime Emmy for it.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to go look that up. That is adorable.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen it in so long, and I know that they have probably changed it because they've always been able to touch on like such sensitive topics and being able to really connect with all kinds of kids from all walks of life and paths. Yeah, I'm gonna check that out.
Yeah,
I love that. Well, what keeps you motivated? How do you stay motivated in your job? If you say some days are good, and you stay into that routine and that scheduled, I know burnout is such a real thing for a lot of creatives and designers, especially. How do you combat
that? I've stopped beating myself up, there are good days and there are bad days. And on the days when I'm really dealing with imposter syndrome, I remind myself that I've been here before and I'll be here again. And it always gets better, right? Like, the more ups and downs you have, you just develop this file of evidence that like everything's going to be okay, you know, and like just I allow myself to feel the feelings, because when I was younger, I didn't know that. And any icky feeling, right? Like I just shoved it down. And that was a big part of my burnout. You know, it wasn't just like the working too hard and all of that. It was never dealing with any of those feelings. And so I think now in this kind of, now that I'm running my own business and I get to do my own schedule, like I'm just much more in tune with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people this year have tried to like learn that, you know, and it's such a hard thing to grasp, and being able to kind of let go a little bit of the ego and being okay with what is. And it's you're not going to be motivated every day. Some days I literally wake up and I'm like, I don't want to do anything.
Yep.
I'm going to go drink a margarita at the pool because I can't live. I can't.
I can't lie, nothing. And you know what? That's okay, right? Like sometimes I just give myself permission to start again tomorrow. And I can't do that every day, obviously, right? But like some days that's okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just having that space to just breathe. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Oh, breathe. Right? Everyone breathe. Take a deep breath and breathe.
Oh my God, that's so true. Yeah.
Well, so if I love asking this question, actually, you know what, before I ask this question, I saw a post recently of yours.
Oh dear.
You're very popular. Your name is very popular right now, and I know we need to touch on it. I love your anti-Karen serum. Serum, is that what it was?
Yes, I have it right behind me.
Girl, yes.
So it's anti-Karen.
Everyone take an anti-Karen serum because this Karen is fabulous. Y'all lay off the Karen name. PSA, lay off the Karen name.
So I was actually just on Inside Edition on a panel of Karens.
No, you weren't.
I was. A friend of mine was like the expert that they asked, because he's like an expert in meme culture and has a PhD. So they had him on, and he's like, he called me out of the blue. He's like, hey, they need another Karen and you'd be perfect.
So what did you have to do? What did you have to submit?
So, I mean, it was like an interview with the host. And so it was just like a Zoom call with three of us. And she just asked us a bunch of questions. Of course, they only used like one little tiny bit of what they said, you know.
They only showcase what they want to show.
Of course, but I worked in TV and I know that. So it was really funny. She just asked us about like what it's like actually having the name Karen now, when like it's a, you know, it's
a cultural phenomenon.
Yeah. And, you know, like, I love the idea. It really makes me think of branding, right? Because all of a sudden my name is my brand.
It really is.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden here's my brand in a way, like being pulled through the mud, right? And I can look at that and I can moan and complain and, you know, like grumble. Or I can make a point out of not being that kind of Karen, right? Like I'm always just like posting when people post a Karen meme or something, like I'll jump in there and just say something really kind of witty, and people think it's hysterical that a Karen is posting about, you know, Karenism.
Your next reel needs to be with you in a Karen wig, you know, the blonde hair with the spike and the long hair. You need and you need to do a Karen reel and be like, here's the real Karen you want to see.
Oh my God, you're brilliant.
I can't wait to see it. I'm so excited. And Mr. Harry Winston needs to show up too with your pumpkin spice latte. Where's the manager?
Excuse me.
Oh my gosh, this is going to be fabulous.
Oh my God, I'm actually going to do this. This is going to be great.
Yes. Have you ever met a Karen before? Like in real life?
You know, it's so funny. Growing up, I always used to complain that there was never another Karen that I liked.
Oh, so there you have met a few.
I have. So there's something weird about my name.
Meet Mr. Harry Winston.
Hey, buddy. Want to say hi?
He's so cute.
Oh my God, he's just the best.
So yeah, in your next reel, I'm going to need you to see him in a pink bag with a pumpkin spice latte, some Ugg boots, and your wig. And be like,
Amazing.
like a dance of where's my manager? Where's my manager? Where's my manager?
Oh my God, you're absolutely brilliant. I haven't known what to do for the reels, and now I know what to do.
There you go, right there. I can't wait to see it just explode. People like, yep, there's a Karen doing a Karen. That's amazing.
Oh my God.
Everyone be on the lookout. It'll be coming up soon.
It will be here.
Well, the one question, let's jump back to it. The one question I love asking everybody is, what would your ultimate dream project be like? You know, if you had an unlimited budget, you know, resources, you know, people, connections in the world, what would that look like for you? You know, like such an enjoyment or the way that you want to express to the world. Oh, I gotcha.
Something that I'm creating for myself, or like a dream client?
Either one. It can be a project for yourself, or it can be a project that is connected to a client, or, you know, anything.
Yeah. So I recently realized I've been doing a little bit of like one-on-one coaching these last few years. And all of a sudden I realized that I was consistently just almost kind of this random string of clients who were all trying to publish a book.
Okay.
And so I've been kind of changing my messaging around to talking to experts who want to publish a nonfiction book, because they don't realize that, you know, publishing houses and literary agents want to see that personal brand already established, and they want to see a following. So that's kind of my new passion project and what I'm trying to help people do. And so my plan is to create a course or a summit or something like that, where either I am teaching everything about personal branding to people who want to publish a book, or bringing together a bunch of experts from the literary world and kind of marrying that with, you know, the branding and marketing side of things. And just, I don't know, I want to create a resource that'll be able to help more people on a bigger scale, right? Because I can only work one-on-one with so many people. And I want to create something that's affordable that everybody can kind of wrap their hands around, you know? So that's
like
my
creating
goal.
almost like a conference.
Yeah.
And having, you know, having your speaker on stage, and then your breakout sessions and all of that. Yeah, I can see it. I can't wait for you to do it.
Thank you.
Anybody out there who knows to make conferences, look a girl up and help her out.
Yes.
Love that. Have you ever thought about writing a book?
I'm writing one right now.
Yay. So when is it going to be done?
I actually just booked a little like house in the hills next weekend so that I can finish it.
Wow. I can't wait for that to come out. Can we have a little bit of a sneak peek?
It's just kind of the basics of personal branding, and why, you know, if you want to write a book, explaining why it's important, and then just kind of going into the tips of how to choose the platform that you should be on, and how to find your audience, and how to attract them, and what to do, and, you know, setting up priorities so that you don't burn out and all that kind of stuff.
Is the title going to be Don't Be a Karen?
Maybe.
How Not to Be a Karen, a brand guide to
Unkarening Karen.
Oh my gosh, that's perfect.
Right?
No, I know. You probably already have a title.
I don't. So,
Oh, okay. I can't wait to see what that ends up being.
Fabulous.
Well, tell everybody a little bit of advice, you know, something that you want to share with others that you know, learned throughout your career, or something that's really stuck with you that has helped you grow as an individual in like your career and who you are now, as something you want to leave with other people who are trying to do what you do.
Advice for people who want to do what I do, type of thing. Just don't be afraid to put yourself out there, and don't be afraid to make mistakes. You know, like, I think especially once you start creating content, you start putting it out there, there are days when you see other people creating content, you're like, oh my God, I don't fit there. How am I supposed to compete here? And all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, right, you never know who you're going to be able to reach that those other people aren't reaching. You might be the first person sharing the content that you're sharing that somebody happens to stumble across. So just, don't become overwhelmed feeling like you're in a sea of content creators. There's always a place for you.
Everybody starts somewhere, everybody starts with ground zero, with 0 followers, 0 connections, and you have to grow from there. It's a process. It's slow sometimes, and sometimes it's fast, and absolutely. I love that you fight that fear and just put yourself out there and take the next step and the next level.
Yeah. And then look at social media like it's in-person networking. Like if you use it as a sales tool, it's not going to work. But if you use it as a chance to meet like-minded people and people who can really use your advice or whatever it is that you're sharing, right? Like that's when it becomes a valuable asset.
Mm-hmm. I love that. Well, last thing, is there a quote that Karen wants to leave with everybody, like your own personal quote for everybody? Do you have one?
I do, sure.
Okay.
Sure. It's just, you are your brand.
Okay. I love that. You are your brand.
You are your brand.
Yeah, you are your brand with Karen.
There you go.
Maybe that should be the title of your book.
That is I think we might be onto something there.
I like that. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming on this episode. I loved hearing about your journey and your story, and you just sharing a little bit of insight and advice to others who are wanting to, get into your industry and just take that next step and level up their business.
I love it. Thank you so much. This was so much fun, and I can't wait to see this episode and all the other ones that you're doing. This is really great.
Well, you're going to have to come to Nashville and now come get a drink with me, so...
Absolutely. I think now this is just destined to happen.
It is. Yeah. I'll show you a good honky tonk time.
Yes.
Welcome to Nashville, y'all. Bring your cowgirl boots.
I can't wait.
Well, tell everybody where they can follow you, like you, subscribe, all things for your brand.
Of course. So on Instagram, you can find me at Karen Happel Marketing. And also through that, you can sign up for my email list. I send out tips every Wednesday through email. And then if you want to find me online, it's just KarenHappel.com. And if you're interested in, the agency side of my business, it's genuinecontent.co.
Awesome. Well, everyone, those links will be in the description below. Make sure that you like, heart, and subscribe. Also, make sure that you're following The Design Therapy on LinkedIn, Facebook, Pinterest, and Instagram, and also at my website at thedesigntherapy.co. Thank you again so much for joining us on this episode. We'll see you next time. Bye.